Hi. I know it's been a little while. I haven't really been on here updating you as much or letting you know what's been going on or anything. I'm really sorry that I've been um, slacking on letting you all know how I'm doing. It's been about 5 weeks. Tomorrow will actually make 5 weeks since I really jacked up my hip. It's been kind of a long 5 weeks. Um, I had been able to walk, but it was, normally probably like 97% of the time it was with a limp, and I could only walk for so long, and then I would have to sit down and rest my hip. And um, I know at a certain point I was trying to work the muscle and stuff like that because I know after surgery, from not being able to use my right arm as much or my right side as much, the muscle kind of gets a little lazy in there, and so I was working it and stuff, trying to help not lose, the use of that muscle, I guess you could say. It was hard to tell what pain was like. You're just sore because you haven't been using it versus the, you know, you're doing something wrong type pain. So, but I was trying to be smart about it, and it's like the first week, there wasn't a whole lot of improvement past like the 3 day mark. And then the second week, there was some improvement. I got another adjustment after the 2 week mark, and then that greatly helped. It just really helped me. And then, so then in the third week, it was a little bit better, but then eventually, that it just kind of gets to like a standstill. And then there, last week, right before the 4 week mark, Friday, I had a really hard day. Like, it was a really rough day. Um, Not because it was a bad day or anything, but just because anytime that I would get up and try to do anything or walk or whatever, it would just really hurt. And I was limping really bad, and I was starting to feel it in my knee. And my my husband actually even said, like, I don't know, I think it's getting worse. And because he was just watching me and how I was, getting around and everything. And so Friday night, I had a really good talk with God. And by Saturday evening, I started to see a difference because normally in the mornings, the evenings, and through the night was the worst. So mornings was normally the worst because, you've been laying down over the night, and then things just kind of got lazy, the inflammation pulled, you were trying to get everything working again and just loose again and everything. Then normally from like 12 to 5, I had, it was better. I didn't limp as much, it was less pain whenever I did walk. And then after 5 o'clock, the pain would start coming back. I'd start limping more. And that's just because it was done. It was tired of, you know, everything that it was going through the day. And so, and then it would be getting more inflamed and everything from walking and all that stuff. And so Saturday evening, it actually started doing better, and I was totally blown away. I know that was God that did that. And Sunday, I was just doing better. Normally on Sundays, I can get up and I can make it out to the kitchen sink, and then on my way back, I start really limping, and then I have to, sit down. While Sunday morning, I was able to get up. I went, to the kitchen sink. I went and I got the girls up. I, you know, went to their dressers and was, getting their stuff, their clothes out for church and everything. And so it was just really amazing. It was really, really good. I was just so happy and so encouraged, and, that things were like getting better. And so, anyways, through the week, I still felt like things were just, you know, it kind of stayed that way, like how it was on Sunday. And then, still though, I was encouraged because I was like, well, hey, things, it's just, it's like it goes in phases, I guess, the healing process. And so, one thing that I wanted to say was my hip can't completely be put back in because of where the cancer is and the erosion that it had done to the bone. So we don't know what things are like exactly in there. And so my chiropractor doesn't want to risk messing with that bone at all. So he can't put everything in how it's supposed to be. I totally agree with him. And so it's just, it is what it is, until that tumor is gone, until the bone is healing, it's not going to be able to be put back in. I think it was around Tuesday, I started feeling something in my knee even more. It was just really starting to hurt. I think it was like just all of the limping and all of the, overcompensating that it was having to do with everything. And yesterday it was definitely a lot more sensitive. It was hurting. I was having a hard time walking again. It was disappointing. But it was whatever, I was thankful that things were getting better, and I figured, I'm just having a bad day. It's just, another, phase of healing. Well, we had visited with some family there yesterday evening. We come home, and whenever, we all get showers and everything whenever we get home, and, it was time to get ready for bed and everything. And I I still can't, get in and out of the shower by myself. I have to have Gary help me. And anyways, I was getting ready to go and get in the shower, and I feel like I ask for so much extra help anymore because of my hip. And so I try to do as much as I can by myself just because I don't like having to ask for help. I don't like, you know, I don't like for my family to know if I'm hurting. I just try to do what I can by myself. And I knew last night that it was hurting, just trying to get ready to get in the shower. But I still didn't ask for help. And next thing I knew, like I just felt something pop inside of my hip. I heard it, I felt it, and I kind of left out like a little shriek or like a little yell. It hurt really bad, and I was really scared because I didn't know what I had done. I didn't know what happened. And so Gary was like, do we need to take you to the hospital? And I'm like, no, like I'm not going to the hospital. Like I just want to get a shower. So then he had to help me get in the shower. That was the whole thing. Getting out of the shower was a whole thing. And then I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk by myself, and I couldn't get into bed by myself. So it was just really painful. I didn't have any idea what I had done. I don't know, you know, if it can even be fixed. I don't know. So, anyways, I had a really good talk with God again last night. And before I had hurt my hip, I would sleep on my left side because I was afraid to sleep on my right side because of where the cancer and the bones are there. I didn't want to put any stress on those bones. I didn't want to hurt anything. I didn't want to break anything. I didn't want to fracture anything like that. So, I don't sleep on my stomach. I haven't done that since I was like a teenager. I wouldn't sleep on my back because anytime that I would lay on my back, it would just hurt really bad, like where the cancer is in the bone there. And then right before, I messed my hip up. But the night before, I know it was like there was hardly any pain at all there, like pretty much nothing. And then the night before, it was a little bit less than that. And then it was kind of like slowly getting better. Now, in the timing of that, I don't know if it's because of the different stuff that my naturopath had suggested that I take. Also, 3 days before that had happened, I had started taking liquid chlorophyll. So I don't know if it was that helped with that pain, because that was just wild. It was mind blowing that that pain had went away. Like it was really really great. And then so I had like 2 days there where I felt really really good. I wasn't even limping. I didn't have pain at night. That was incredible. And then boom, you know, something stupid, and now my hip's all jacked up. So now I'm having all this trouble. And while the cancer and what it had done to the bone is why I'm still, I believe, stuck at, how I am, it's not technically the cancer that's keeping me, that's messing me up. I feel like if it wasn't for my hip being messed up, I don't think that I would be feeling that bad. I feel like I'd be feeling pretty good. And so that's like amazing with how my hip is. Like I wasn't able to sleep on my left side either because it would just be too much pain, and just like the muscle and the bones and stuff, it just wasn't going to work sleeping on my left side. So I started sleeping on my back, and sometimes that it would get really it was starting to get sore there. So then after a couple weeks or so, I started trying to sleep on my left side, and then I would have to put like a blanket or something like in between my knees to help so that it wasn't so painful. And last night I was sitting on my bed, and it's one of those ones where like you can elevate your upper body or you can elevate your legs or your feet, and I'm really thankful that I had that because it came in really handy after surgery. And then even now I can't sleep flat because then my tailbone and stuff, it will hurt and stuff. So if I'm laying on my back, I have to be, I have to have my upper body elevated and my legs have to be elevated. So I really think good thing that we got that bed that like probably about 3 years ago now. My back was hurting, like my basically my hip, my tailbone, like all that in there, like where the cancer is supposed to be. It was hurting, so I was like, okay, so I'm gonna have to try to sleep on my left side. So I got myself situated. It really hurt, but I got myself situated on my left side, and I had prayed, and because it was really hard, I was really scared. I was really worried. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like, how am I gonna do this? Because I couldn't walk. I can't do anything by myself, and so it was just hard. And I was just telling God, like, I'm sorry, I'm whining and I'm complaining, whatever, but, like, I really need you, and I need you to help me. And I actually didn't even really get to finish my prayer. I don't remember finishing it. I think I was just, like, exhausted, like, I was just really tired, and I feel like I just fell asleep praying. And at one point, I remembered I woke up because I felt like this weird little pain, like wherever whatever that was had popped. Like it was like it wasn't as bad a pain as whenever it had popped, but there was like some kind of a pain there, and it was enough to where I kind of yelped a little bit. I just woke up and it was just like, oh, and it just went away, and I just went back to sleep. And then this morning, whenever Gary had to get up, he needed to go to work. And so it was a thing, trying to figure out, like, should he call off and stay home with me? Should he go to work? Because he had some stuff that he really had to get done at work. And I know it's dumb to even worry about work whenever you're having something like this go on, but I don't know. We're weird people, I guess. We have a hard time. I know whenever I was working, I never called off unless there was something really, really, bad happening. It had to be really bad, death in the family, or, I literally couldn't get out of bed or something because I was so sick, or, it had to be something really bad. But anyways, Gary is basically, he's the same way. I was actually able to stand up this morning by myself, and then it was really hard to walk, but I was able to walk. I just basically wanted to give myself like a test drive and see, can I do this without him today? Or can he go to work? Or do I need him to stay home? And so I was just trying to test things out and see how I did, and I was able to do okay. I mean, it was very slow, very hard to walk, but I was able to. Now I couldn't get back in bed without his help. He had to help me. And even now, it's really, really hard, and it hurts. I can't put my weight on that leg for very long at all. Like, I have to keep moving, and I can't walk that far. So it's really hard. I don't know how much longer it's going to take to get better. And I feel like that's like quite a big setback, and I know that things could be a lot worse. And so I'm not trying to be ungrateful. I'm not trying to be, complaining or anything like that. It's just, it is hard. It's just, it's an adjustment to try to get used to. This is, how I walk now, and this is how this is how life is. And I'm hoping that it gets better, and I think that's only normal for a person to feel that way. It's just, I don't want this to keep me down and then other things go downhill as well. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody or not. I need to be able to keep moving, especially with the cancer that's in the lymph nodes. I need to be able to keep moving. Your lymphatic system does not move unless you are moving. And so it's really hard. It's just, like, for example, the one lymph node, it's in my underarm. I can feel it. I can actually feel the lymph node that has the cancer in it. So I know, it's just hard because this is just such a long process. It's just taking a long time, and it's taking a lot of patience. And I know that there are people that have it a lot worse. And so I'm not trying to act like, oh, I have it so bad, I have it so rough. Like, I know I'm very, very blessed, and I'm thankful. And and God is good, and I know He's with me. I know He's with my family. I know that there has been healing. So I hate that there's a but this is hard. People say God won't ever give you more than you can handle. But that's not true. That's not what the Bible says. we will have hard times in this life. We will go through hard things. What he does say is that he will be there with you. And he will. Because this whole experience has been just devastating. It's been horrible. It's been a nightmare. It's been excruciating. But God has never left me. And he helps me. And so, I know no matter what you're going through, if you ask God to just be there for you, to just help you, he will. And it might not be in, your hip might not be healed overnight. Cancer might not be gone overnight. Your house might not be saved overnight. It's whatever it is. You might have to go through that, but God will be there. He will help you get through, and he will work whatever is going on for the good. Some way, somehow, for those that love him, he's going to work it for the good. And he's done that with this situation. There were things about me that needed to change. There were ways that I needed to grow. Things about me that needed to be matured, my Christian faith. And he has used this situation to do just that. And I never would have been able to do it by myself. He had to do that work in me, but without the situation, he would have never been able to do that work. The only way that would have, that those changes would have come about was through going through something extremely difficult. And, obviously, this is that, and this has went a lot longer than what I planned for it too. I just wanted to be like a quick update, let you know how I'm doing, let you know that I do need prayer, that I am thankful for all of the prayers that you have been, already, sending up for us. But this is definitely, it's far from over. We definitely still need as many prayers as you can give. Like, just, we really, really still need prayer. And, okay, so I'm just gonna end this here. I was going to do a post, but I don't have time to type everything down, because then I like to, really word things how I want to word it and stuff like that. I don't talk that well. I feel like I can write well sometimes, but I don't talk that well. When I'm writing, I can go back and I can, no, that's not really what I meant. Like, I meant it like this, and, I can kind of rearrange stuff how I want it. So I like that, but then, like, the posts get really long, and then, for stuff like this, like if I do a video, I figure, well, you don't have to look at me, you can just throw a towel or something over the screen, and then, you can go about your work or do something, while you're listening or something if you want to, but, yeah, so I figured it would just be easier and quicker to do it this way, even though it's taking a lot longer than what I planned for it to. I know there's even, normally on the videos, there's like a little setting where you can speed up the video, so I would be talking a lot faster in that way, but, that could also save some time. So, anyways, I hope that all of you are doing well, and just thank you for everything. Thank you for the prayers. Thank you for just being you. Thank you for caring about me. And, I care about you guys too. And I try to keep up with you guys too. And just thank you for everything. Please pray for me. All right. So I'll be talking to you guys later.